How do we teach a dog shush? How do we teach a dog to shush on cue? Basic training sequence. Remember? Code your brain. I want this emblazoned in fire in your brain. How do we put any behavior on cue? Basic training sequence. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3, 4. Problem is, when a dog's barking, it's not a great time to teach shush. You see, in training, we have best possible training scenarios and worst possible training scenarios. So worst possible training scenario is 3 miniature schnauzers barking at 2 a.m. down the bottom of the garden. That was a question I had at a seminar. Okay? It's part of your exam at the end of it, so think about that one. It's a bad training scenario. 6 people dressed up as Ninja Turtles at the front door on Halloween. Bad training scenario. Which means, you know, your dog is so amped up and crazy, it probably won't work too well. I still do that occasionally. I call it meet the beast. I do it with no recall in a workshop. You can't catch your dog. When you've eventually caught it, I tell you to let it off leash again. We're going to do it again. If you do it right, you'll have a good recall really quickly within the next 5 to 10 minutes. If you keep your dog on leash, you won't. You're ignoring the problem. You don't have a recall. So I make people meet the beast. Okay? The worst possible training scenario. But for teaching, and I do that for them to build up confidence. Because once they've done it, they go, wow, I can stop my dog when he's chasing squirrels. I can call my dog back. You know, it gives them tremendous confidence. But I like to work normally in the best possible training scenario. Your dog's relaxed, pretty attentive. You are alert. It's at the best time of day for you. You've had whatever energizes you, whether it's your Red Bull, your coffee, or your Sprite, or you've done some meditation, and now it's time to train. Problem is, if we're teaching shush, the dog's not barking. So what we do first is teach the dog to bark on cue. Absolutely essential. If the dog cannot bark on cue, you will not get a reliable shush. Really important. And this is actually the formula for all behavior problems that I deal with. Behavior and training problems. Jumping up, put it on cue. Pulling on leash, put it on cue. Running away, put it on cue. As soon as you got it on cue, teaching the opposite is easy. Okay? Now the problem is what? The reward for the good behavior. So you say, walk by my side, good boy, go pull. Hugo loves that. He loves pulling on leash. I don't know why. He loves it. He likes me. So there's 2 reasons why a dog would pull on leash. 1, he doesn't want to walk next to you. Or 2, the environment just excites him. Or actually 3, that it's just intrinsically enjoyable for whatever reason. You know, but dogs really seem to enjoy it. But he likes me. Yes, he's excited about the environment. But if I have him off leash, he will go out ahead, but then he will stop and stand still and survey. He does like to be out ahead, and that's the test. Have your dog off leash, then you'll know what sort of dog he is. It gives him a lot of joy. Walk by my side, pull on leash. Walk by my side, pull on leash. So now if he walks by my side, I say walk by my side, he does. There's a good boy. Hugo, go pull. There's the reward. 1, 2, 3, 4. You got it? So before we teach shush on cue, we want to teach bark on cue. All right, this is your last chance. How do you teach a dog to bark on cue? 1, 2, 3, 4. You got it? Because now you can work it out. Because you know the sequence of the 4 things, all you need is the lure. Because number 1, we know, the request, speak, woof, bark. Oh, I had some nice ones in class. One of my owners had, what was the cue? What do you think of the present political situation? The cue was actually the word situation. But very funny. So, what do you think of the present political situation? Woo, 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 woo. Which I think is funny. Maybe you don't, but I do. There we go. So the cue we can choose. We know the response, woof, woof, woof. We know the reward. Praise, bark along with it. Blows some dog's mind when you praise them for barking. The relief you see. I've seen dogs like Dobermans who have been punished for barking their whole life, and the first time I work with them, and they go, woof, woof, and I say, good dog, woo, 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 and they go, woo, 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 woo. And they're just so happy with it that they can do what they were bred to do, what they were bred for, to be an alarm barker, you know, an alarm dog, a protection dog. So, all we need is the lure. Simple. Ding dong, ding dong. So how do we teach a dog to bark on cue? Number 1, you say, Rover, speak. Number 2, an accomplice rings the doorbell. Number 3, the dog barks. Number 4, you praise and bark along with it. Then we're going to say, number 1, shush. How do we lure a dog to shush? Simple. Waggle a piece of food under his nose. The instant he sniffs, he stops barking, because you cannot sniff and bark at the same time. Everyone try. Breathe in through your nose for 3 seconds. Go on. Now bark for 3 seconds. Come on, you're pathetic. All right. Now do both for 3 seconds. I want you to breathe in through your nose and bark at the same time. 1, 2, 3, go. No, you're not doing it. Breathe in through your nose and bark. Yeah, it's impossible. It's a physical impossibility. You'd end up sneezing down your nose if you did that, okay? And so, number 1, Rover shush. Number 2, waggle the food. Number 3, the dog sniffs the food and stops barking. Number 4, whisper praise, and then give the food. You're going to say, good shush 1, good shush 2, good shush 3, and give the food. Why do that? Well, if you whisper, the dog's more likely to listen. Okay, think of people giving dog training classes as opposed to a kindergarten teacher. Kindergarten teachers like this. Okay. And she waits for all the children to be quiet. And then she talks in a normal voice like this. A dog training instructor who knows education says, right, the next exercise is everyone get... No one's listening, everyone's talking. Okay, so you whisper praise, the dog will listen to what you're saying. Well, when dogs listen, they don't bark because they're not stupid. If you bark, you can't hear what you're listening to. Like, you don't say if you're outside, you hear a weird noise, and you say, what was that? La, 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 do you? You say, what was that? And then you try and listen. So whisper praise, we count to 3. Why? The effect of a reward or a punishment only goes back 3 seconds in time. And even though if you gave the dog a treat when he stopped barking, it's going to work. But owners won't do it. They say, but aren't you praising the dog for barking? Won't the dog now bark to get you to give him a treat? And cognitively, the answer is no, the dog doesn't have the cognitive power to do that, but owners don't believe you. So I tell owners, which is the truth, a reward or a punishment can only influence behaviors that happened in the last 3 seconds. They believe me absolutely. So I say, before giving the treat, praise up to 3. Good dog 1, good shush 2, good shush 3, give the treat. Got it? Trial 1. Trial 2, Rover speak. Whoa, 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 good dog, good dog, good dog. Rover shush. This time it has to shush for 1 second longer. So we count up to good shush 4 before giving the treat. Then we repeat the woof shush sequence, adding on a second each time of shush time. By the time you say shush and the dog's quiet for 10 seconds, he's got it. Most dogs have forgotten what they were barking about. Okay? So that's how we teach shush. The important elements are the dog is barking because you told him to. So he's not worked up. He's just doing something you asked him to do, like sit or fetch the ball. He's not out of control and worked up. He's attentive and focused. And we're using a little science to get him to shush, the lure. But that only produces the temporary change. What produces the permanent change is the praise. So we were having a meeting yesterday, and Doon was crying. Last year, his behavior's really changed. He's turned into a crybaby if he can't have full access to you. He's gone deaf to the point I don't walk him off leash much anymore. I used to tell, when I'm talking about off-leash control, I always used to say, well, I walk my dog off-leash. How about yours? What with Dune, I don't now. Because if I speak like this, he just doesn't hear me. We did some audition tests when Kelly said he can hear me, said maybe it's your voice. And I didn't believe it because I was thinking, well, humans lose the higher ranges first. So I went out, and I'm not kidding, I went, Dune, sit. Dune, sit. 5 times. Dune, sit. Sat instantly. I repeated that 3 times in a row. 5 non-responses in a deep voice. Well, when I have him off leash, I do respond kind of like Tiny Tim. I don't like it. It's an effort to say, Dune, sit. But he does it. So now I walk him a lot on leash. Okay.